Chairman, thank you very much. First, I want to thank you for holding this hearing. I think it is a very important hearing. I want to thank the witnesses here today and, of course, the ranking member. A colleague of mine said that Republicans have constantly banged on the debt limit. That's actually not true. I'm going to challenge that premise. I didn't hear a peep during the presidency of Donald Trump. There were 3 or 4 Republicans that said something, but the rest weren't fighting the debt limit. I didn't hear anything. I was here. Crickets. They only fight it when the Democrats are in charge. All of a sudden they become deficit hawks. They certainly didn't do it when President Trump was here. Now, I think that what we just had was a artificially created crisis because of this debt limit. But there were some positives to it, just to be frank. I mean, Republicans thank them to make our president look strong and bipartisan and wise. Think that that was one of the outcomes. So certainly there was something positive for America there, and we thank them for that. It was very much appreciated. Thank you very much. Also, World War II was brought up more than a few times. And just to correct the record, World War II was not to fight communism. They were on our side that time. Remember Uncle Joe? Soviet Union? We're actually fighting the Nazis and fascism. Just for the record. Because they said we were fighting communism. No, they were on our side that time. I don't like them now. I'm not a communist myself or a socialist. But just for the record, I think we get those things wrong. Since we were talking about World War II, President Eisenhower becomes president. What was the highest marginal tax rate during his presidency? Do you know?
No, I don't know offhand. It's higher substantially than it is today, but I don't know the actual number.
How high? Take a guess. You don't know. How about you? Can you help it?
I want to say in 90, but I'm not sure.
91%. 91%. So I ask you, was he a communist? Trying to take everything away from everybody except for their job? I'm asking the question.
So my knowledge of President Eisenhower is relatively limited. I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah, I don't think he was a communist. He worked well with the communists at the time, with Stalin and, of course, the Soviets that they were attacking the Nazis. But he was no damn communist. Of course he wasn't. Now, I do want to ask this. In 1999, November of 1999, a prospective candidate for the Reform Party presidential nomination made a proposal to tax people in trust with wealth over $10 million, 14.25% to wipe out the national debt. Do you know who that candidate was?
I do not.
No, but I can't wait.
Shocking that you don't know, because he became president as a Republican. Donald Trump. Donald Trump did. Donald Trump's plan to wipe out the deficit, which I think back then was like $5.76 trillion, something right around that area, was to tax wealthy people and trust to wipe out the debt in one fell swoop. Just out of curiosity, is he a communist? Is he trying to take everything away from wealthy people except for their job?
Also not an expert on that.
What's that?
I'm also not an expert on that.
I would hope not. Well, thank you very much. I do want to get now to that X date. I was very curious about that too, because it changes, and sometimes it changes pretty dramatically. The first thing that I caught was that that big number that you said, suspension of the reinvestment in the government. Now the fun part's over. The reinvestment of the government securities investment fund, $294 billion into the federal employment retirement system. That actually is quite a chunk of money, and that seems to give quite a bit of headroom.
That's right, yes.
So is that one of the things that confused you? You were talking about taxes, but also these payments. I mean, that's a big payment. If you can delay that, I mean, that's quite a lot of money.
I think it was less about the size of the extraordinary measures themselves, and it was more about the changes in what kind of from day to day would be bringing in and spending.
Okay. I just have 20 seconds left. So with that, I'll yield back and thank the chairman.